Princess Anne visits Ellesmere to unveil plaque at Memorial Garden. The Princess Royal, Princess Anne, was in Ellesmere to unveil a plaque at the Memorial Garden for Eglantyne Jebb and Dorothy Buxton. While she was there, some ducks that were mating chose to come down to the garden, which made everyone very happy. At one point, it looked like the waddling birds about to mate were going to fly right to where Her Royal Highness was meeting artist John Merrill. But they took off just above the heads of people who were waiting and reporters from the local news org. Welcome to Royal Pancakes. If you are new here, please don't forget to subscribe and click the notifications bell, so you don't miss any news about the British monarchy. The Princess Royal didn't seem as nervous as the crowd, who were thrilled by the unexpected show. It's not the kind of flypast that members of the royal family are used to. The town-born sisters Eglantyne Jebb and Dorothy Buxton started Save the Children more than 100 years ago. The Princess Royal has been a patron of the charity for a long time. Save the Children helps young people who are fleeing war, famine, and other emergencies. The princess met the artists and workers who were working on the Memorial Garden for a long time. Mrs. Corina Jebb volunteered for a long time to raise money. Her late husband, Lionel, was a great-nephew of Eglantyne Jebb and Dorothy Buxton. Mrs. Jebb started the local office in July 1968 from her family home, the Lythe, on the edge of Ellesmere. Mrs. Sheila Griffith came from a farm next door and helped her. They are the only founding members left alive now. Others who joined soon after also welcomed the princess. A retired teacher and branch secretary, Mrs. Jean Ferries, was one of them. She said, "I was asked to join the group in September 1968, after my husband and I moved to Ellesmere from Scotland. The next year, the group grew quickly because it was Save the Children's 50th anniversary, and we were having a lot of fun." The Maritime Museum of BC Collection and Archives is where Princess Anne is likely to go while she is in Victoria. During their trip to Canada from May the 3rd to the 5th, the princess and her husband, Sir Tim Lawrence, will be in Victoria and Vancouver. The couple will meet the museum's board of directors, staff, and volunteers on May 4th and look at some of the 45,000 items in its collection. Some of these items came from the National Maritime Museum, which is one of the Royal Museums Greenwich. The head of the Maritime Museum of BC, Brittany Viss, said that Princess Elizabeth and Prince Philip toured the Navy base in Esquimalt during their 1951 trip to Victoria. Philip asked if there was a military museum on the west coast. Viss said, when he was told there wasn't any, he set out to make that happen. When he got back to England, he called the Greenwich Museum, and asked them to send some things to British Columbia to help open a new Navy museum. The first steps of the military museum were taken on Signal Hill, which is right next to the gates of HMC Dockyard in Esquimalt. In 1965, it became the Maritime Museum of BC, and moved to the courthouse in Bastion Square. Its new address is 744 Douglas Street. Prince or Princess Anne will visit the Central Saanich facility of the Victoria Therapeutic Riding Association on May 5. Last year, Princess Anne went to Canada. In May, she went to New Brunswick, and in June, she went to Alberta. That was her last trip to Victoria. In 1971, she went on a trip with the late Queen Elizabeth II to Nanaimo, Tofino, and Comox. Canada's Royal Canadian Navy will be the couple's home while they are there. Princess Anne is Commodore-in-Chief of the Canadian Fleet Pacific in a symbolic way. Princess Anne went to see Eglantyne Jebb and Dorothy Buxton's childhood home. They are two of the founders of Save the Children. The Princess Royal is the royal patron of the charity, and she met workers in Ellesmere, Shropshire, who have been spreading the word about the sisters and what they have done. Artist Nick Eames said that the royal guest just loves it so much and has a very clear idea of who Eglantyne and Dorothy were. In the morning, the Princess went to the Cavalier Centre near Much Wenlock to meet volunteers and give 7 Shropshire groups King's Awards for voluntary service.